Okay, here's another League of Legends game coming your way, this time with Lux Mid. So this will be the first time I'm playing a mid laner with the chalice, and we'll see how it all plays out. Basically how the mana regen works. As for the lane matchups, we have Sion top against Irelia. I'm Lux Mid against Katarina. We have Kha'Zix in the jungle against Nocturne, and Taric partnered with Corki bot against Caitlyn and Blitzcrank. So, Katarina, you can see from the pick order I blind picked, Kat is a good pick into Lux because I don't have a way to actually interrupt her ult. All I have is my shield to mitigate some of the damage, and that's why I'm going to be putting some extra points into it kind of early. I don't remember if I max it second or not. This is post-commentary, by the way. But you'll see how the game plays out. And I will warn you there's going to be a disconnect in here. I'm not going to spoil it on who. So go ahead and make your predictions now. 30 seconds till spawn, so let's go ahead and go over the moveset for Lux. I'm going to mouse over it in a moment, but your passive is Illumination. Whenever you damage an enemy with your spells, your Q, E, or ult, you mark them with light, and then you can auto-attack them or ult them to detonate that mark for additional damage. Q is Light Binding. It's a linear skill shot, pretty decent range. I don't remember how the missile width is, but you snare the enemy, mark them with your light, and you can potentially do some bonus damage there. And you can snare up to 2 people with it, by the way. W is Prismatic Barrier, or something along those lines. The name was just there a second ago. It's another linear skill shot. Lux is all about skill shots, but you throw your baton, staff, whatever, out, and every ally hit by it receives a shield. And the shield refreshes on the way back as well, so you can mitigate a lot of damage, especially on dots, if you use it correctly.
I'll look into it.
Your E is Lucent Singularity. You target an area on the ground, it's that move right there. You can detonate it earlier, or it'll detonate itself after, I believe, 5 seconds. It applies a slow field. Right there I missed the last hit because the illumination faded, but applies a slow field to everyone who walks through it. And it's up to you when you want to detonate it. You can use a zoning tool, wave clear, etc. It's a flexible move with some utility in it. Finally, your ult is Final Spark. Very, very long-range skill shot, which is why I say Lux is more of a sniper than Xerath. And it's not quite global, it's just really long range, and it pierces enemies, so there's no way to actually block it. I believe even the Yasuo Windwall and Braum, crud, I forgot what his shield's called, Unbreakable, do not block it, if I remember correctly.
We can do this.
And the ult, like I said a second ago, will detonate your passive, so you can use that to do a quick burst on the enemy. It will also reapply your passive, so you can then just auto-attack the enemy for the extra damage. As for the matchup at hand, there are a few disadvantages I have against Katarina, the first of which is that she's completely resourceless. All she has are cooldowns. As a result, I just have to try not to run out of mana. You can see right there, she can just jump on me. Sometimes I can punish her with my snare, it's just I have to have the mana for it, and that's one of the reasons why I'm not going to have much success early game. Chalice, of course, is going to be helpful because it's going to give me MR to deal with some of her damage. The MR, of course, will synergize with the W, since the W is like temporary health. It's one way you can think of shields, I guess. So by having some MR, it's going to make it a lot easier for me to survive Death Lotus.
I love it when a plan comes together.
But right here, I'm struggling to just try to keep up with the last hits under turret. I can set those up, but sadly the turret takes way too long to fire, and I missed that one minion.
I'll look into it.
But I will go ahead and tell you that eventually this game is going to become a bloodbath. You just have to endure the quiet before the storm. And especially with the Nocturne and Sion on the field, we can cover a lot of ground quick. And even if I'm not present in the team fight, there are going to be a few instances where I can snipe someone with the ult.
We can do this.
As for right here, I need to save up 1,000 gold minimum to get the chalice on the first back. anything I pick up extra would of course be either going towards the completed grail or just more sustain, potions, etc. Boots are also pretty handy for Katarina since she can Shunpo on me, and then once she's next to me, that's where she wants to be. I need to kind of keep some distance since Lux is... she's not officially a sniper, but it's the way I think of her, and I think it's a pretty good way to describe her.
Stay positive.
But anyway, let's talk about our late game setups. The thing we have going in our favor is the Sion. So he had, I think it's his W.
Light 'em up.
I've only played rework Sion once because I didn't really care for the character before the rework to worry about him after. Well, right here, you can see the Shunpo. I used the Ignite because I thought he was going to be going harder, but he didn't. Yeah. So there's Nocturne. Ka had all of his cooldowns burnt, so he had to flash the wall. And since this is 4.21, Nocturne does have the increased movement speed when he's moving towards a feared target, so Ka needed to make sure that he did not lose his composure to unspeakable horror. But going back to Sion, he's going to have the infinitely scaling health, so we'll have that working in our favor. I don't think Cat goes for Leandries, but that would be a pretty good counter. As for this, I'm trying to notify Ka that she's level 6. If he messes up, she's just going to instantly burst him down, and then I'm going to be that much worse off as a result. This is my first time actually seeing a Kha'Zix in the jungle after the... actually, I think on all of Pre-Season 5. I don't know how he really fares in the jungle anymore. I probably should look into him. I don't think I've actually recorded one ever since I did those 3 games back-to-back. Well, not quite back-to-back, but I actually recorded them back-to-back. As for this right there, she used Death Lotus, so you got to see me use the shield to try to mitigate a bunch of her damage. And right here, I kind of want to punish her, it's just I don't have enough AP to secure the kill just yet. That can change later on, though. As for the Lux build, I think I managed to reach 5 items before the game ends. I'm not really a fan of any of the snowball items at all, so I'm not going to be going for the Magi's, even though some people really like to do that on Lux, since you can kind of sit behind your team, assuming you do have a front line, and just shoot out.
I love it when a plan
Since there is a Nocturne on the field, it'd be even more risky, because he does have the ability to jump on me. As long as he can see me, he can just ult, and then he's on my back, literally.
going.
As for this, I now have the chalice, and it's supposed to have 2% regen, I believe, for scaling off your missing mana, but it feels a lot weaker than it did in Season 4. As for this, I'm pinging that Cat is heading top, but she turns around.
Right decision.
Sadly, I don't get around to doing my pink ward trick this game. It is kind of important here to set up some sort of vision because the Cat wants to roam. So as Lux, I have to do a balancing act here. I need to keep the wave pushed far enough to where Cat can't roam without me being on her tower in a very, very brief period, but not so far out that Nocturne and Cat just camp the hell out of me.
We can do this.
As for this, you can see I haven't run out of mana. Well, I guess part of the problem could be with how the level ups have changed. Everything is supposed to be based off percentages now, so... yeah, right there she used her Ignite, and I got to mitigate this with my shield. As for this, the best part of that ult. Very, very short cooldown, so I can go ahead and pick up those 4 minions, go back, heal, get some stuff, and then come back and everything will be well. And I even have enough for boots.
Fighting away.
Once I get the Grail, that's going to be an extra 20% CDR, so the ult will be up even more than normal. It's going to take me a little while to get to that. I don't think we'll have our first team fight, but I should be able to get my first kill before then.
Right decision.
But going back to our team comps, the Nocturne is going for the Devourer, so he will have the infinite scaling that way. That kind of will offset Sion. Ka, on the other hand, is going for the Warrior, I believe, so he's going to have earlier power, but I don't know how Kha'Zix fares. I can't really stress that enough at the moment. The guy went from being all over the place to, I guess, a back pocket pick. Yeah, I need to find out how he fares in Season 5. Maybe that'll be the next jungler I do. As for this, I can try to poke Cat down. She doesn't have a way to mitigate the damage, so right here I'm getting her to tank the minions. It's a little bit extra. Right here I tried to shield Ka, but he went the wrong way. Most people would run to their allies, but oh well. Good news is for him, I didn't completely abandon him, so we got to secure the Nocturne kill, and that's going to slow down his snowball slightly. But Nocturne is very, very scary, beyond just being the whole nightmare monster thing. If you've seen the Nocturne jungle game I've already uploaded, do not take him lightly. I can't really stress that enough.
Stay positive.
But we don't know where Cat is. If you look on the minimap, we just found her, and by we I mean me. So I see my screen flickering, which tells me that she's actually on me. I can go ahead and snare her, shield up, and then just walk out. And we do have a potential situation here. Sadly, for one reason or another, my team is getting poked to hell. I know Kate has a longer range than Corki, and right there I didn't get to hit the Blitzcrank like I wanted. He will go down, Taric gets it, but no assist for me. Lame, I know. But Caitlyn has the attack range advantage on Corki,
We can do this.
so there's that, but on the other hand, Corki should have longer range once he gets his missiles. He just has to be able to land them and hopefully conserve enough mana to be able to afford them. If he spams his Phosphorus Bomb way too much, then yeah, he's going to have problems.
Stay positive.
So we're approaching the 1/3 point on the game pretty soon. I went ahead for the level 2 boot so I could get away from Cat, Nocturne, and everyone else. Drawback for Lux is while she can poke from a distance, she has crap for movement speed. I think she's among the lowest in the game. So if you don't have flash, you're going to need your tier 2 boots. That's pretty much your only way to get out of something alive. As for this, I'm dropping the ward on this side because I think Cat is more likely to roam bot. The other advantage is that will give me more vision towards their red buff area, and I might be able to see Nocturne coming my way for a potential gank. As for this, I threw the shield out because I was thinking Ka was going to jump in since she was snared, but no. Sadly, the Kha'Zix and I are horribly, horribly out of sync, and that's not really going to change. So right there we got the flash out of Kate, and it's the 4 of us, or the 4 of them against the 2 of us. So Cat goes ahead and gets that kill. I get the assist on Blitzcrank and Nocturne, but it costs us Corki in exchange.
Stay positive.
Not really sure what all was going on there, but if the bot lane could have moved up a little bit sooner to help us sandwich them by the Dragon Pit, we could have probably picked up all 3 without any losses. But for one reason or another, it just didn't work out. I don't know who the pre-mades are this game, if there are any. Just from the amount of disorder, I'd say there probably aren't any. You're not really going to see any coordinated plays, sadly. As for this, she does get on me. She does her Death Lotus. She uses her Ignite, but I use the shield to mitigate it. I did miss the Light Binding, so I couldn't actually keep her in place to follow up with a different spell. Doesn't really matter, though, because I didn't have the mana for the follow-up anyway. So I went ahead and picked up the Fiendish Codex for the increased AP. I think it's just 10 more. That's also going to give me 10% more CDR. So I can nuke down the remnants of that wave once I got in range, but Ka goes ahead and cleans it up for me. So I decided to hold on to my ult here in the hopes that I can actually pick up something in lane. Worst come to worst, I can just use it to instantly push the wave and then
We can do this.
just deny Cat the CS that way.
Going.
All in all, I am a bit surprised that there hasn't been much of an attempt on the dragon yet at the 15-minute mark, but I guess your normal jungler just isn't as aggressive as I am. Plus, I guess there isn't too much CC bot. You have the Dazzle, but Ka and Corki have to get within Caitlyn's range. She can use the net to get out. And maybe there's a little bit of fear of Blitzcrank somewhere in there.
Illuminate the enemy.
So at this point, I have enough AP to make last hitting with the Illumination debuff pretty simple. It's just mana. Gotta keep my mana up. And I'm trying to remember, I don't think Irelia does any magic damage. I think her ult actually is Fizz. The reason why this is significant by my blitz is that I might not get any protection from her with the chalice. I'd have to get the Zonias. She does deal true damage with her W. And right there, Kate gets the kill on Ka. I go ahead and ignite and auto Nocturne. It's enough to secure the kill, but there's no hope for me there. It is pretty bad that the Kate arrived before the Corki, especially when you consider Corki can hop walls with his Valkyrie. But I can go ahead and pick up a needlessly large rod on this back. It is going to delay the Grail somewhat, but the extra AP is going to help in terms of wave clear. Plus, it's more damage for my illumination, more for my ult. I might be able to snipe someone better. So it's a bit of a trade-off between utility and kill pressure.
Going.
As for this, Taric goes ahead and tanks the minions for us so that we don't take unnecessary tower damage. But Blitz kind of forces the bug to fall back. As for this, there are only 2 left, so I decided not to waste my ult. It's just like 30 gold. Especially since I may need it for an actual full wave, since Kate and Blitz are now in my lane. And I think the snare loses half its damage once it hits the first target, but I don't remember for sure. As for this, while we didn't have complete visibility, the key thing is we had a little bit of a chain effect. From the way Taric was moving, I knew which way the threat was. But I go ahead and get a kill and an assist there. I don't remember which one I got which. It's just, we're kind of playing Chinese telephone, I guess you could say. And sadly, my team is all the way over there, so I'm pretty much finished here. Cat goes ahead and gets that. Irelia shows up. Down goes Ka. Down goes Taric. And where was Sion in all of this? So it was a good move on their part. It's just Sion's arriving to the party way too late. He misses his ult, and it doesn't really matter since Nocturne had a spell shield, but he goes and secures it with his Q. Bad news for him is Blitz just pulled him into the turret, and he does get Cat, but he does die to Blitz.
Going.
Still not really a fan of that Sion passive. He has to have tenacity or something to make it worthwhile, otherwise it's laughably bad. But top goes ahead and goes down. I show up here just in case she decides to keep pushing. Fighting her is pretty dangerous at this point since I don't have any way to mitigate her damage. That's a Grail I finished. I don't have the Seeker's Arm Guard. So I just have to take the necessary precautions, play it safe. The lane will be pushing my way. And she goes ahead and wanders somewhere, but I need to clear this before I can go ahead and follow her wherever the hell she's going. So, first dragon secured at the 20-minute mark. Of course, our way at 6% AP now, so that's going to add a little bit of extra damage to my offensive. It's just not quite enough to be noticeable yet. So Irelia goes down, there was a shutdown on her phone raiser, another Cat kills Corki and Taric. And the fight is still going on. And with that move, I can go ahead and snipe Cat from all the way in the mid. I get the assist on Nocturne, and we come out ahead here. Sadly, Kate did use the trap to scout the area instead of face checking. And as a result, she had time to react to my other moves. And right here, Ka's really messing up. The problem he has is if you don't have health, recall. You're not doing shit by doing what you're doing now. So he stood around there when he should have just left, and maybe he could have come back now and even gotten double. But he just wasted his time, and as a result, Sion and I have to pay for it. But I can go ahead and pick up the Blasting Wand, move closer to the death cap. So let's see, Blasting Wand is 40 AP, 6% of that. Is that seriously like 2 AP?
Stay positive.
Yeah. So yeah, an extra 2 or 3 damage depending on how it's rounded exactly. Lottie freaking da. So I go ahead and use the ult here to try to clear some of the wave. Bug makes another horrible play. And 3 of us are here now to mount some sort of defense. Where is Sion exactly? Okay, it looks like he's coming down the mid. So they aren't really in a position to take Baron off of this. I have enough wave clear to where they can't really siege, and with the dragon off the table we can kind of just wait for the bug to respawn. In the meantime, Corki can farm the jungle. We can try to push out some of the other lanes, it's just none of them are actually pushing our way at the moment.
Lighting away.
As for this, we have some vision over here, it's just we're not seeing them wherever they are. Too many black spots.
Great decision.
And we just got a load of the spook. Sadly, I did get pulled. You can see what I meant by Nocturne's just going to jump on me. I go ahead and use the ult on the hopes that I can maybe blast someone back there to help my team in the fight. Doesn't really help Corki, and you can just see how disorganized everything is. He goes ahead and picks up Kate. Nocturne goes down, giving me the assist. And he runs away from Cat for one reason or another. As long as he has Taric by him, Taric has the Dazzle to instantly end the Death Lotus. Bad news for Sion is he has to tank it for 1 second while he charges his Q for the stun. If he doesn't charge, then the Q is just a slow, and then it's not going to interrupt it. And right there, Taric went down, Blitz went down. And the bad part is without Taric, like I said, Death Lotus now cannot be interrupted that easily.
We can do this.
Sion actually has to be able to tank some of her damage. And I don't have enough for the death cap just yet. Sadly, due to the early grouping of everyone, that means that I actually couldn't farm. So there was actually a good period where I was not last hitting at all, and this is where it's starting to catch up. So 2 of my teammates go down. We do pick up Irelia, but it's not really a good trade by any means. And while I was recording this, at several times I was probably saying to myself, what the hell is my team doing? Hopefully you guys are seeing why. Good news is we are now past the halfway point, so once again I will remind you, which of the players in the game do you think is going to disconnect? Right there, I just tossed the E over the wall to try to figure out if the blue buff is there. It's not like I'm actually in a position to steal it, but it might have given us a clue where certain people were. We might be able to do something based off that.
We can do this.
Sadly, one of the worst parts about playing Lux is watching people run away from your shield. We've already seen the bug do it earlier this game, and it's going to happen a couple more times, I believe. So right there I'm trying to keep the dragon timer for the team. Ka goes ahead and picks up Kate since she was horribly out of position. And... okay, I think they're pushing the bot. As for this, I need to go ahead and clear the mid so that we can go to the dragon without losing any turret health. And the E is not enough to clear it just yet, but I can follow it up with the Q and then just popping the illumination to take care of it. As for this, there's really no reason for Ka to be going wherever the hell he's going. The second dragon is going to give us additional damage to towers. It'll help us with our siege. All in all, it's going to make our poke a little bit more effective, and well, the Ka is not exactly winning any points in my book for jungling skill. Blitz goes down, my ult is on cooldown for about 40 seconds, and the Nocturne should have been scared off, which is more reason to go take the damn dragon, you freaking bug. So with that, we now can siege a little bit better. And there's the spook after all. So I go ahead and hit him with my light binding. Right there I got to use the shield to mitigate quite a bit of damage. It's just... their team was there, mine was not. So they're gonna get 3 of us. Not really much I can do about that. Like I said, you're not going to see any sort of coordination in this game, at least from my team. But with all that, I can go ahead and pick up the Death Cap, and I can start working on the Void Staff. I don't think there is much of any MR on the field just yet, and the Void Staff is going to make it so that they get a much smaller return for when they finally do start itemizing that way. You can see that Sion has a Visage and a Sunfire Cape. Don't really know why he rushed the Visage, since he wasn't really doing too much with Cat. I could kind of see like a Randuin's Omen, or like a Warden's Mail at the very least, to kind of deal with Kate and Irelia. And Nocturne, but he got a Spirit Visage. Yeah.
We can do this.
As for Irelia, I don't really want to bother chasing her. The bad part about a lot of us being there is that she gets tenacity based on how many of us are present. So I don't remember if that max is at 2 or 3. In the event it was 3, I didn't want to get close so that maybe Taric could land a stun or something.
Stay positive.
As for this, we just need to try to find them. Sadly, I'm not really using my warding trinket. The little bit of extra vision would help considerably. It's just
We can do this.
not really getting in a position. I don't want to move too far out because there's a blitz to pull, Cat can secure stuff, Nocturne's going to jump on me. And right there, you got to see me use the... well, Nocturne wanted to defend his pink ward. The thing is, I can use my E to light up the brush, and there's no way for him to actually destroy that. Like, if we tossed an ordinary ward in that, he can just kill it, and then it'll compensate him for some of the gold lost. The E, on the other hand, he either has to get the hell out of there or tank it. There's no way for him to actually try to deny us that vision. So I was able to clear it from a distance, and then once I landed the binding on Blitz, down goes Blitz. As for Irelia, yeah, down she goes. So Cat kills Corki, Sion does manage to lock her down a bit, and I have to go ahead and secure that for the team. Sion goes ahead and dies, and really, there's not much I can do at the moment. I still have my ult, yes, but if you look at their health, it's not something I'm going to win. Especially when you factor in that Blitzcrank also has his mana barrier in reserve. All I can do is pretty much just try to clear the wave and wait for my team to respawn. And right there I might have been able to kill Nocturne if I had thrown that at him. It's just, I didn't know if he had his spell shield up, so I could have been baited out of the ult. I'd rather deal some damage to the minions, even though it's not quite enough to clear the wave just yet. So they get an inner, but I can go back and get the void staff, so I hit even harder, and I'll pierce whatever MR they have. And we are now reaching the 30-minute mark, so the game is approximately 75% over. So with the red buff, Kate can kite Sion pretty horribly for Sion. There isn't really much course of action for him unless he wants to ult in there or just run away. And the Gem Knight gets bounced around like a pinball before going down to Blitzcrank. So, lack of coordination. But the next item that I need to get is a Zonia's Hourglass. The reason for that is some protection from Kate, Irelia, and Nocturne. It's also going to allow me to just stasis myself through Death Lotus. I could have picked it up earlier, it's just I was willing to put some extra points into my shield and so I could use raw AP to do my tanking for me. And if I actually had my ult there, I would have used it on Blitzcrank since it would have cleared the minions behind him, it would have popped the illumination, and then it would have got the tower aggro on him. Might not have been enough to kill him because of the whole mana barrier, it's just, he'd get the message, don't pull that crap again. But the dragon is up in less than a minute, we need to try to work our way to that side of the map, and the advantage to the third one is it's more movement speed, so I can get away from Cat and Nocturne. Like I mentioned earlier, Lux is almost as immobile as they get, so the movement speed is what's going to be keeping me in the game. But you can see that both Cat and Irelia were there. Irelia stood out too far, so I got to see her. Even though Cat was trying to bait me in, I just auto-attacked her. A little bit of a tap to tell her that I know what she's up to, and then I turned around and went back. The good news is there are now 4 of us down here. Bad news is the AD carry is not really here for the sustained damage. I don't know if Ka has smite. There's one of these that he blows. It might be this one. So he went in on Nocturne. I can't explain why, but he went in on Nocturne. So I go ahead and hit Nocturne with the E, does some damage to him. Not quite a lot since I don't know if he's just tanky or what. But right here we are now in the middle of a dragon fight, and the bug secures it for us. So right there I use my ult, it does get me killed, but I managed to do enough damage to help my team secure some kills. So Cat goes down, Irelia goes down, Sion goes down, it's his passive that's running at the moment. And while we did technically go 4 for 3, we did get the dragon, which is the key thing there. So I now have the movement speed to help with my positioning, and once I have the Zonias, then Cat is a much smaller threat. It's just I'm going more for damage than defense. And this is my first time actually looking at the Bug's build. Youmuu's on Kha'Zix. I don't think I've seen that before. I guess it kind of helps with the burst and the mobility, but I think there are better items.
Right decision.
Anyway, it doesn't look like they went for the Baron, even though they may not know it since this is a solo game. We don't really have a lot of vision over there. It's possible for them to just go over there and take it. We only see Blitz at the moment, since they had some survivors. They could have went over there, started it, the jungler could have arrived to secure it. A few different ways everything could have played out. It's just we kind of got lucky. And speaking of luck, Blitz eats a Dazzle, a Sion Stun, and now a Light Binding. He is not so lucky. And the Blitz dies before the Corki rocket arrives, so there's no assist for our AD carry. So on the other hand, he just goes ahead and takes all the lane CS. Go figure. And it looks like Corki went top, but Kate is horribly out of position, and she's going to pay for that with her life. And here is where things get a little messy. So I don't know why Ka turned around. I went over there to try to rescue him, but I flashed to try to get away from the cat. So she got the kill, she did get resets. As for Nocturne, he does not get resets. He dies.
Lighting away.
So I was worried about Cat turning around and re-engaging on me since I don't have the Zonias just yet. But it looks like my fears were for nothing. Would have been really bad if I actually got feared during Death Lotus, since that's a slow, and yeah. That would be the end of me almost instantly. But I can ditch the potion. I can pick up the needlessly large rod.
We can do this.
Let's see, that's 86% of that would be 4 or 5 depending on the rounding. Then you factor in the death cap. So it's a pretty worthwhile pickup. And you can see that I can almost take down the entire wave there with the ults. Just the siege minions are too damn resilient. Probably actually need the Zonias to finish them.
I'll look into it.
But I went ahead and got double buffs. I believe I picked those up off of Kate's body. So that does mean I can apply the red buff in addition to my passive when I actually auto-attack an enemy. So that's extra devastating compared to normal since the red buff also has a slow component that goes with it.
Going.
An enemy has been slain.
Kate goes down. The nice thing about the slow is that does allow me to line up the rest of my skill shots, either the snare on the Q, the... God, what's the E called? Whatever the hell the E is called, or even my ult. Bad news is the bug goes down, we can beat up Nocturne a bit. Down goes Sion. This is one of those moments where I have to ask, what the hell is my team doing? So I move around to try to seal off their escape. So Taric goes ahead and does his dazzle so I can follow up with the rest of my moves. Nocturne goes ahead and denies our vision so Cat can make her escape. It's a bit of a long cooldown, but if they're... well, it's just an example of some coordination from the enemy. So if we can get the 4th dragon, that means I will be able to clear waves really, really easily. As for this, I was more concerned about the siege minion. As a result, I end up only getting the siege minion. Good news is Corki can go ahead and pick those up for us. So the 4th dragon will improve our siege immensely. I can just blow up wave after wave, and it's not going to be so easy for them to clear. Bad news for Irelia, she went way too aggressive there, and I don't know what killed her, if that was just my passive or what, but she goes down. Now, Kate goes down, and I go ahead and pick up an assist with my shield. So with the top and the AD carry down, that means we have options. The first of which is we can push down the mid, try to expose an inhibitor. We can go ahead and take the dragon. You can see I got pulled, but not really a big deal. I do have my shield. Corki goes ahead and takes the turret for us for some reason, while Sion stands off on the side. Go figure. And that puts us closer to their base, and we're able to go pick up the dragon and potentially the Baron. So we are now approaching the end of the game. Last call for predictions on who's going to disconnect. Dragon number 4, so yeah, Ka did not mess up any of the dragons. Thought he messed up one. But we now have increased pushing power in terms of minions. I can go ahead and pick up the Zonias. And I have options for what my final item would be. I could go for the Guardian Angel to deny Cat her resets. I could go for the Lich Bane for more offensive power. Nice thing about the Lich Bane is it will synergize with my passive. It's going to give me movement speed so I can reposition myself better. I can justify a few different items at the moment, and luckily I'm not going to have to make the call. So I go ahead and clear these in the expectation that the game is going to stretch on a little bit longer since we're not having much luck with the siege yet. My team just isn't coming together for us to do much. And right there, cat jumps in on us, but she eats a dazzle. She death lotuses way too late, and Irelia is in an awkward spot. So she has to flash the wall to get away with her life. I ult almost... That was a good portion of Cat's health. I didn't actually notice that. And the key thing here is we see Kate. Kate's in range. Kate is snared. Kate is dead. So once again, the top and the AD carry are down. Really bad news for them. And right here is when we split up. So I think Corki stays to take the turret while the rest of us go to the Baron pit. It's important that I go to the Baron because I have the shield to help us mitigate most of Baron's damage. As a result, we can take this a lot more safely, we'll be healthier, etc. Like you can see, the locket was just popped. Right there I get to use my shield. And the Baron goes down, and look at our health. Hopefully that luck shield never gets nerfed. But with Baron, we are now ready to mount the final assault. Last call for who's going to disconnect. You will be finding out in about 30 seconds. So the enemy has respawned. The wave is in a convenient location for us to just push this in. And while I kind of wanted to hit Blitz there, I'll settle for Irelia, wouldn't you? So I go ahead and pop everything on Irelia because she's one of the ones that I'm more concerned about. And it also just sets everything up for us to pick off Blitz. So with this we can take the inhibitor, we have a massive wave, I'm in position to assault, and guess what? I disconnect. So this is where the game ends. Sadly, this is the end. The siege was very, very brief, as I found out when I tried to reconnect and the game was over. So I'm guessing we either just burst them down or they just took the towers, but we were in a position to wrap it up anyway. So yeah, if only the game could have lasted 30 more seconds. But this is where we're going to wrap things up. It was Lux Mid for you guys. Hopefully it was entertaining. Thoughts and observations go in the description. I'm the Hero of Light. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.